All right, we'll be going on just a second here as we get our Instagram going. That takes like 15 seconds to warm up. All right, we're warmed up. We're good. And we're live after hours. Good evening. This has been an interview that I talked about all week. This gentleman has actually, I went through my inbox and I found out this gentleman reached out to me in June of 2023. I was not doing interviews at the time. I was not even doing a podcast at the time. I had taken time off. So persistence wins. Know a little bit about him. It's a great story. I'll let him introduce himself. Let me just click on and make sure I can bring him in here. And we'll give him equal space. All right. You're on the air. Thanks for coming on, Ethan. Ethan Poetic. Hey, before I even go any further, can you tell me about the name and the name change? Because your Facebook says Ethan Vaughn and your name is Ethan Poetic. Tell me about that while
My
you
original
introduce yourself.
last name Vaughn doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the Germans who brought my ancestors in Cambridge, Maryland. And when I took my ancestry DNA test in 2018, there was no German DNA inside of me. So I decided to change my last name to Poetic for being creative, greatness, and many other things I can say. I got the blessing from my grandma before she passed away.
That's cool.
Uh, Unfortunately, Facebook has not decided to change it on my main profile as Ethan Poetic, but the other page is still Ethan Poetic. That's more like the inspirational page
Well,
for
you're
motivation.
Ethan Poetic to me. I just wanted to just
Yeah.
clarify that in case somebody looks you up and they see that, they know what's going on.
Yep. Hopefully, Mark Zuckerberg team can change my last name on my main
Don't
profile.
count on it. Listen, don't count on him doing something. So, introduce yourself. Tell them about your story. So, I'll just, I'll say my understanding. I didn't read your book, but what I'm impressed with is anybody that writes a book. It's got my respect out the gate. I don't care what it's about because writing a book's hard. Everyone probably wants to write one. No one does it. So this gentleman's an author as well. So I'll let you talk about it. But tell a little about yourself and what you're doing, and then we'll get into some of the things we talked about before.
I'm a native of Coatesville, Pennsylvania. I've been living in Lancaster since March 4th, 2001, the day my mom decided to move the family to Lancaster.
But you're
Um,
not claiming Lancaster as your hometown yet. You're still claiming Coatesville.
well, I gotta pay respect to the city where everything started,
All
while at
right,
the
fair
same
enough.
time acknowledging where I've been living at the last over 20 years. Plus, I can't, disown Coastal because that's where my great grandparents lived, my grandparents lived. That's the foundation where I was born. And I'll get into that more later as far as the transition of moving here and how it was really a hard transition. But moving forward, I am a two-time college graduate of Harrisburg Area Community College, Millsville University.
I went to Harrisburg Area Community College. Holla, shout out.
Yes, I was recently honored at the Giants Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania with the Distinguished Alumni Award. I was
All
also
right.
recognized at the Pennsylvania State Capitol for Award of Excellence. I've been featured on magazines, the front page of newspapers,
Well, that's what I'm
television
saying.
stations.
Why, like, what now? Why are you reaching out to little old me, man? I was honored. You gave me a media kit. I'm like, yo, bro, I don't know what to do with a media kit.
You're not little.
How did
I
you
accept
find?
you
How
for
did you
that.
find out about the podcast? Be honest.
I saw it on Facebook or Instagram and reached out.
Cool. I'm glad you did, and actually, the timing worked out because now, as I said before, we talked before we went live. This is a different venue, and it's a venue where I want to reach out. I like creatives. I want to talk to people that are doing things, whatever that thing is. And you have a great story. Started out kind of with the tragedy. I mean, you kind of changed up a little bit. You were into sports. I'm a soccer player. I wasn't three sports, but I was a soccer player. Can you talk a little about your story?
I used to play football, basketball, track and field, and wrestling. I made the newspaper, not the newspaper. I made my school's yearbooks from middle school and high school. Unfortunately, as I talk about my book, it's called The Inspirational Story of Ethan Poetic Chronicles of Adversities, Education, Sports, Relationships, and Resiliency.
That's a
Where,
lot.
yeah, it is. I talk about that journey of where I wasn't able to do varsity sports the last 3 years of high school, where I was projected to be starting right away for football, track, compete in pin relays. But later down the road, I was able to get back on track with the right people in my life, starting with Jordan Steffi, who is the COO and
Are
well,
you doing
actually
a
the
plug for
co-host.
Jordan? Did Jordan say you got to plug me everywhere I go?
It's just
I
I
like
gotta pay
Jordan.
respect where it's due. But at the
I like
same
that.
time, it's part of the journey and the story inside the autobiography that's available as a hardcover, softcover, ebook, and audio version, all major platforms. And I also have it right here in front of me.
You know what I like as well, Ethan? I'm just gonna just say it right now is that it's not easy to self promote, and I think that's one of the things I wanted to say to you on camera is that I got mad respect for anyone that's putting themselves out there promoting, trying to change lives, and I know it's not easy. And I looked at your Instagram, and you have more followers than me, so I'm hoping you're streaming this to your followers.
Well, they'll see it. But ultimately, my journey, involves in my book growing up in a single parent household of five, having a strange relationship with my father, going through the education challenges. Then there's also,
Did you know your father?
I did. It's a situation where he was already with a woman prior to me, my mom, and that other woman and them, they were already serious and they had a child together.
So he was
And
splitting families.
well, he actually got two women pregnant at the same time. You can say my mom was the side woman, but she didn't know
Yeah.
that he had somebody else, but they were never serious to begin with. And I talk about a little bit in the book where for a woman to hear from her own mom that the man that she knows she's about to have a child with to say that child she's about to have is not mine's, and that's groundbreaking right there.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
was told about it as a kid, I didn't understand. It wasn't until grew up where I realized somebody disowned me before they even saw me. I learned the whole truth. And certain people that my aunt came to my mom's house, checked out my body with her fingers by looking at my hands, feet, neck, teeth, because my dad is younger than her. So she saw the same things in me that she saw in him. She said, "Yep, that's my
This is
nephew."
before DNA.
Yes. And once she told that to my dad, so my dad came over to my mom's house and realized the truth was right there. Even when I did take the ancestry DNA test in 2018, I still matched with several members on his side of the family, both the mixed side, the white side, and the Puerto Rican side. And it's a journey of a woman who out of all the kids she had, I'm the only person who she had a relationship with a man that was never serious. Yet
Did you
I was still born with greatness, and that's what both my grandmoms said.
absolutely? So you grew up with your mom. Do you have siblings, right? You have brother and sisters?
Yes, several of them.
So I grew up six brothers, six sisters, big family. White parents. But I did the DNA thing, and I found my family was from. I found I found my brothers and sisters. Actually, I'm friends with some of them on Facebook, and I talk to them. So half of my family was from Nigeria. The other half, the white in me, was Irish and pretty much pure Irish and Scottish. So, but I'm adopted. I don't know. I didn't know if you were adopted. I know that Jordan Steffi's adopted, or no, he wasn't adopted either. He was
No, he grew
single
up in a single
mother.
parent household as well.
Yeah, yeah. So talk about what made you change or what the change that happened. I mean that that kind of made you have to realign what you were doing with yourself.
Well, it's just I started looking at life differently later down the road, where I just started looking at my history much deeper. Like The last name Vaughn doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the Germans who bought my ancestors. I realize I'm getting all these recognitions, these awards, and that last name doesn't even belong to me. And then also look at the reference of Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, where they changed their last names. And I'm not Muslim, I am saved and everything, but it's just I don't want to be called Mr. Vaughn when I'm not Mr.
That's
Vaughn.
fair. What led you to make these changes though? Like, I mean, people don't know about your kind of what, that you almost didn't make it.
Well, part of the change of the last name was just
No, I mean before the last name change though. Like what led to you kind of reevaluate? I mean, you kind of were hanging on. Nobody you want to talk about that or
yeah, basically, ladies and gentlemen, I'll get what I'm about to tell you is something I don't remember. It's more of a situation where it took a lot of self discovery while I'm looking at newspapers, my Facebook wall, where people saying they're praying for me, then other media outlets. Like, for example, can you imagine you seen a car accident in your neighborhood, your suburbs, or in your city? You see the ambulance, you see the fire department, you see the police with the yellow tape. They'll just want you to take that in because you realize that there are complete strangers helping out strangers that don't know each other. But the people who are doing the helping and serving took an oath. And I was in that car accident that happened in Paradise, Pennsylvania, where I had a 99% chance of death versus 1% chance of life. I shouldn't be here. I should have died of internal bleeding. Can you imagine the EMT people coming up
no,
to the
I can't.
car,
I don't want to.
taking their fingers and putting it against my neck to see if I have a pulse or blood flow? Can you imagine the fire department cuts the car in half with the jaws of life? Can you imagine traffic being backed up 3 miles each way?
No, my
And then
brother's a
I get to work,
fireman. He's had to do that. That's
and then I'm I get put on a stretcher, a neck brace gets put on me, and the nearest hospital is 35 minutes away, which is Langston General Hospital. A prayer said, emergency surgery's done. They thought I died on an operating table, but they decided to sedate me to see if I wake up. And then sometime later, I wake up twice. One on cloud nine. The second time was in a more conscious state, where I wake up in the ICU unit, and there's a woman at the front at the door, and she's crying tears of joy. And that's when I declared a walking, living miracle. And there's a quote I just want to say: "It gets better before it gets worse," because a lot of other things that happened along the way that made it worse.
what you talk about in your book, right? You talk about that
Yes,
journey.
yes.
So, and I didn't want to press you on talking about that. I know that's you don't remember, but that's still something that I probably wasn't maybe as sensitive, but I know I'd sent you that I wanted to ask about just how that impacted you because I'm sure that's something that makes you think about life in a different way. And as a young person, I would consider you younger. I don't see any grays in your beard. I don't even see a beard. But I would say that I think that's something that you know you learn early, quickly when you're realized with your own fate.
How it impacted me was just put a lot of things on hold. My parents didn't have to go through survivor's remorse, the burial,
Yeah.
create an obituary, a newspaper clipping, and you name it. People's prayers were answered. I was on over 30 prayer lists, different parts of the world.
So you talk about the struggle with that guilt of living with that as a survivor.
I didn't understand it because last year when I got interviewed by this radio, not radio, it was a television, it was a newspaper. And when I read it, everything seemed consistent. But when I saw the words survivor's remorse, then it explained why I was going through these emotional roller coasters leading up to my anniversary as a walking living miracle, I know I subconsciously was feeling guilty about being alive while there was two people who passed away and I wasn't able to make it to their funeral because
Yeah.
I wasn't capable of being there, even if I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And then just to live with the thought of like, if I had known that much sooner, that phrase would have been said to me much sooner, I would have been taught about this much sooner in different interviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just the fact that they say this quote, "Time heals all wounds," but I'm like, this was more of an emotional thing. It just, I knew I wasn't addicted to no drugs or no alcohol, and I wasn't looking at anything I wasn't supposed to. It's just happening from within,
Yeah,
and
man.
when I figured it out, I'm like, wow, I can relate to those who lost a child who are going through survivor's remorse. I can relate to someone who lost a dear loved one that went through survivor's remorse. I can relate to somebody who served in the military and lost their buddy and come back to civilian life.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's powerful. I mean, I think that that also I had said that you kind of came to a conclusion about your fate, but it's actually kind of the fate of others and knowing where your fate lies in that kind of brought you to. And you're saying you've recently discovered. Did you do therapy or anything like that personally? I mean, I know I'm going breaking HIPAA,
I
but
did because
I mean, I'm in therapy, so I mean, I know I shouldn't ask you medical questions, but I'm a pro. Mental health is something that people should be openly talk about. It's fine. You go to the doctor for knee, you go to the doctor for therapy. Anyway, go ahead.
I want because when I was on all those medicines, certain things just weren't being addressed because my body was desensitized. And what people didn't understand was like, I mean, I look fine, but I was on all these drugs, and eventually I get weaned off slowly and slowly and slowly. Then a double effect happened. I get all my senses back, but then I got this like emotions that I'm dealing with, and I'm just wondering like what's going on. And it's like therapy helped with speaking things out because my parents never had that talk with me as far as how I'm feeling,
How to
what
be
are
in
you
touch
up
with your feelings.
to.
Yeah.
I talk about in the book where they were making my own life worse than what it already was. It's like, for example, people would show up to the hospital or rehab on their best behavior, but they were doing some dirt behind closed doors that ended up coming to light. And when I found out about their situations, I just, was like, wow. No wonder you didn't have a plan on helping me get my life back together. No wonder you weren't being full advocates. It's
Talk to
like
me about
someone,
so Jordan probably helped step in there. I mean, that's what he's been
yeah,
doing for a while, right?
yeah. His role was more. I'll make a long story short. Like I've been to the education systems of Coastal Area School District and the schools in Lancaster. The only time I ever been on a college campus was volunteering in the dish room at Thaddeus Stevens. With Jordan, sometime after high school, he saw me graduating from college. I put you this way: here I am at the Media Heights golf tournament. I'm skinny down to the boat. I'm skinny down to a pin. And there was this person. There was supposed to be a special guest speaker, but for some reason their plane was delayed. So Jordan, being Jordan, he's a former quarterback for Conestoga Valley High School and Maryland
He does a lot of
University.
good work too. Yeah.
Yes. So him being a quarterback, he knew he had to call an audible. And calling out audible was he looked at me and I saw that look. I knew I was gonna have to stand up. He called me up. He said a lot of words with the from everybody from donors, sponsors, family, friends, your loved ones. And then he made this powerful statement as he put his arms around me. Ethan's gonna graduate with a college degree. I looked at him, I couldn't believe what was said. The room was just like, wow, shocked. And a lot of things happened. I realized him and his family must have been praying really hard. He must have had a deep vision about it, of a life's coming attraction in me. I say all I have to say is that he's the only person that believed in me graduating from college.
That's
Not
awesome.
neither one of those school districts believed in me going to college, and I was a student athlete. I had my IEP plans,
I was
but
trying to
there's
play the
not shown
clapping.
no plan of me going to college, let alone graduating.
That's awesome,
And
man.
what ended up happening later on in life was just I didn't graduate from college with one degree. I graduated college with 2 degrees. So I see his expectations.
Nice. That's awesome, man. So I also went to hack. I want to say shout out. That was awesome. I love it. That's fantastic. I know Jordan does a lot of stuff. I can't even keep up with him. I had an interaction with him when I was working for the state for Mike Sterla, and he was coming to us for something he was working on back then. And so it's been years since I did that, but I know he's been doing a lot. It's good to hear that he's still out there changing lives um, with what he's doing.
Yeah, he's also married.
Yeah.
He has 3 kids. His life changed where he had to call another audible and make more time for his family life behind closed
All right.
doors and being there presently for like the parent teacher conferences,
Yeah, yeah.
read bedtime
Kids.
stories to his kids.
You got any kids?
All I got is kids that look up to me,
Okay,
but I
I
don't
got
have
no
no kids
kids.
that are my own biological legally. I do have a newborn nephew and a 17-year-old niece, and this summer either I'll have my second nephew or my second niece.
Oh wow. I don't even know how many I have. So my family's gonna hate me. They're gonna be like, you don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. So let me ask you something about your book. So talk to me about your book and like you published it. Did you self-publish? What did you do? I know it's on Amazon and
Self-published it because
that's cool.
if I would have went to those publishers, they said they would have turned my story into a movie and a soundtrack, but they
Well,
would have they would have owned all the rights, most of the rights to it,
now I get it.
and get all the money and leave me with pennies on the dollars, and then I have to buy my rights back. That's not a good deal.
So
I
how is your
definitely
book? I agree. Before you get a movie deal though, how's your book doing?
it's selling still. There's times where I send people the link to the audio version. There's times where people contact me through my cell phone, email, social media, or in person for a signed copy of a hardcover, softcover. They
All
pay me
right.
Cash App, Venmo, PayPal,
So let me
and
put
Zelle.
let me ask you. So it's you're doing your own distribution, right? I mean, that's what you have to do. Or do
It's
you have
it's
it on it? You have it on Amazon? Do you have it on iTunes as well?
yeah, it's on all major platforms:
Oh,
Audible,
nice.
Amazon, Spotify, Apple,
Did you
Google
read the
Play.
book then? You did the audio. You did the audio version.
Yes, because I gotta make sure people listen to my voice. Kids can. I've been telling kids, hey, tell your parents if we want it for your birthday or early Christmas present. Tell them I want you to buy Mr. Ethan's book so I can listen to it and learn more about his story besides looking at the television interviews or
That's
the social
cool.
media. But also people who don't like to read things, that people who want to hear
Me?
something inspirational before they get a workout in, go to work, or be on this long road trip, or be on a long airplane ride.
Are you
They got
doing a
something to
live
listen
cast or podcast or anything? Because I mean, all the life coaches are doing that.
I don't do my own podcast. I'd rather be a guest on a person's podcast. It's just more convenient.
That's that's fair. That's smart. That's smarter than me. I mean, I'm doing all this work and like, look, I didn't see that you requested to come on. Otherwise, I'd have been excited, and I wasn't doing it. But I did a search today because I remember you asking me something like early on when I was like basically ignoring my emails for Smash the Party because I was almost done. But so the other thing I wanted to ask you, so about your book, You're selling your book. You're pushing your book. Now talk about what you're doing during day to day. Like, aren't you life coaching and doing that kind of thing and working, doing speaking and all that kind of stuff?
Well, the speaking, yes, I was speaking at Coastal Area School District at Kings Highway Elementary School, and I was featured on 6 ABC Action News coverage in Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. It
Nice.
was a win for the community. It was a win for the city of Coastal. It was a win for the school district, and it was a win for those who can relate to me, coming
Who
from a single parent household and everything else. To where you see the difference is all another person has to do is change their mindset, change their foundation, compared to what I had to do. I had to change. I had to overcome death and much more.
and still learning, right? Still learning.
Well, of course, you're still learning because we have to keep learning. That way, we keep growing. If we stop learning, well, we become stagnant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I stopped. I took like 10 years off from learning for a little bit. I'm gonna say I was stagnant. If you watch my show, I talk about my stagnants. I go through plateaus. But enough about me. So you came on the show. What are you like? Tell me about projects you're working on. I mean, I told you can plug yourself. We can talk about whatever. I want to talk more about your book, and I don't want to give it away because you want people to buy it, right? You don't want to tell them
Right.
the whole. I mean, maybe you
Well,
do. Maybe you want to wet the whistle a little bit. Ethan, this is your
well,
time.
well, what I eventually want to do is create my own documentary, like a three-part series. Continue to be involved with the community and to continue to collaborate with other nonprofits and for-profit businesses.
What do you do with them when you say you collaborate?
Like, for example, there's this nonprofit organization called the Choices Foundation where I do speaking engagements with them. To this guy who's more experienced and has been around that industry much longer. Programs like I used to do the after school sports programs, but I phased out of that to focus on my business full time. And the kids, when I used to work inside the schools, they would tell me, come to this after school place, come to the Langston Rec, come to the YMCA, come to the mix. Oh, come meet me at this place. This is where I'm celebrating my birthday. Or their parents will hit me up and say, hey, we're inviting you to this venue. Can you come accompany my child? Because some children, unfortunately, don't have their dads present.
Right.
And I can see myself in them because there was people who came into my life that invested in me. From my coaches, a neighborhood not becoming a father figure to me, and many other men along the way. Uh, but ultimately, I just want to continue to grow, continue to attend these networking events, and eventually, do more speaking engagements inside the schools, colleges,
Well, one thing you're
private
doing right.
venues.
Let me tell you something right now. I'll tell you is that it's not easy promoting yourself. And I think you're already kind of you're already doing that. And I think that's the hardest part about doing anything in this new world is I mean it's nice like you self-published your book. We can do that now. There was a time when you couldn't do that. Don't yawn. You're not allowed to yawn yet. Come on, what I got to make funny sounds or something? This is live, man. All your people saw you yawning now. No, I'll probably yawn too. It's after hours. So, in my opinion, you're doing the self-publishing, the self-distribution now. How do you kind of let people know about what you're doing?
All right. Well, I get interviewed by so many podcasts, and they normally send out
Really?
these.
So this isn't special.
It is special because with you on an individual level,
All right.
and I know you were joking. 'Cause I can read between that line. But what they end up doing is like they create this short reels, and I take those reels they want me to promote on my social media, and allows people to see which interview I'm doing next. Then they also get to see me on television. Then you also get to see me in the newspaper and all these other awards and
So you're like an
accolades.
you're like a life coach influence. You're doing that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
cool.
But ultimately, it's a matter of just taking it one day at a time. Like it could be more podcast interviews. It could involve attending
Well,
the
you're not
networking
getting paid for
events.
this. You know that, right?
I do get paid for my speaking engagement because as
But
I tell people
not for
every day,
this. Not for me. I'm not paying you.
we never agreed to any payments.
Yeah, yeah. There is no payment. There
Yeah,
is no
but
payment for this show.
I know. But as I tell people all the time, when it comes to my books
You did this
and
for
my
free.
services, I value that.
Yes, I agree. You're gonna get promote. You're gonna get a lot of promotion for this. I just want to be clear. Like everyone knows that they come on here and they're coming on to talk about it. But I think one of the things I'll let you know is I promise you this is anyone that does come on. Um. Oh wow, they discontinued it. Anyone that does come on, I definitely promote as much as I can.
Yes.
Um. So like the payment. Who cares about payment? I'm not rich enough to give you payment, but I'm rich enough to pay to help promote. So my TikTok, they just discontinued it because oh, all right, cool. I'm just TikToking my side. All right, back to this. So you came on, you tried to reach me. What have you been doing since the last time? So it was June of 2023. So how many podcasts have you been on?
Over 50.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So you're like a famous person now in the podcast. There's a sphere of people that know who you are. I expect to get hits from this, man.
It's gonna be hits. It's gonna be more hits than Motown. Motown.
Like that's funny. No, I joke, and I honestly do this because I think your story is interesting, and I don't know how you tell it over and over, and people ask the same question. So I was trying to think of something to ask that you haven't answered, especially if you've been on 50 podcasts. So tell me about what do you do for fun?
Uh, well, I used to play the video games.
What video game are you allowed to say?
Madden. Madden.
Madden
I used to be a pro video gamer in that, and this was before.
for real?
Yes, I used to play with the Philadelphia Eagles.
What?
I went from average to above average. I learned all the special plays. I executed it. I treated it like a full time job. I was beating
What?
people. I was
So now what do you do though? Are you doing it still or no? Because e-gaming's
no. What
big.
happened was I talked. No, I don't do that no more because when the economy had crashed when Obama became president, the prize money went down, and they took away the Madden bus, where you can compete for 100,000 in the middle of Times Square. Once they took that away,
Wait,
there goes the desperation.
so hold on. So Obama became president and then the what crashed?
The economy crashed.
You mean like the when the freaking mortgage industry crashed, all that shit.
Yes,
What did it
and
have to do with e-gaming?
because Best Buy was the sponsor, and EA Sports were collaborating together. So they realized, you know what? Since the
Thanks,
United
Obama.
States, since well, it wasn't Obama's fault. It was George Bush's fault because of the certain decisions that he was making. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Right. On our political show. You have to come on there. But anyway, no.
Yeah,
So the e-gaming, but it's back up now, isn't it? E-gaming is money now, isn't it? There's a
it
lot of
is.
money.
But the thing is, it's not the same. Back then, in order to make your play offensively, defensively, and special teams, you had to manually do things. Now the gaming thing is more automated, where the player who makes the least amount of mistakes wins,
Right.
and that's not real gaming because
There should be
a person
comebacks and stuff like that. And
a person's not even that good. Then there's more than people who play the game long enough can find glitches.
well, I'll say this. Look, Tekken is my game, and I went online. Look, in one of my moments of thinking about my future, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get into Tekken. This is recent too. I was like, I bought because I was really good at Tekken. And I will say it's different. And online play is crazy. And I know what you're talking about. Button mashers. Button mashers have taken over Tekken. There's no longer skill anymore. You just got to be a beginner and you just got to mash the buttons. So maybe that's what happened to Madden.
Well, it's just it became more AI than manual because when it is manual, you gotta prove yourself. With
All right, you're
AI,
old school. Did you tell EA about this? Is there a movement to shut this, to bring old school Madden back, or what? Because I'll fight for it. If it's something powerful of taking away from the powerless, I can take up that cause on Smash
Well,
the
as
Party.
long as EA's getting paid, they're not gonna care about that.
EA.
The only thing that is still manual is NFL Streets. That's something that requires skill and will. That's a game I want them to bring that back because we have a new generation of players. And
So
it's time to give them different.
how long do you play a day? How much do you play a day?
I don't play the game anymore.
Oh.
The only time I play that is just a special occasion, and I'm still dominant because it's just I'm being serious because some of
I
the
believe
players I
you.
play against, they're not competition, and then I'm being serious because
You sound
I
like
know
the
what
way
to
I talk
do.
about Tekken. Look, that's how I talk about Tekken 3. I have to talk about Tekken 3 like that. I was untouchable. Like anybody even wants to come on the show and talk about it, I actually have witnesses. So I understand confidence, bro. I
Yeah, but
understand it.
there's only one person that can compete with me only because
But
we
I
play each
lost.
other. We play each other over 100 times, so therefore you know someone's tendencies. And there's times where I had to improvise a play
Right.
into like a three words. I'll give you like a snippet. Like for example, let's say I'm playing with the Baltimore Ravens. I got Jackson.
I don't know
Who's
anything about football,
all
but
right? I'll
keep
just make it
going.
simple.
I know. I think I heard the name Baltimore
Lamar
Ravens.
Jackson with the
Okay.
Baltimore Ravens. I can take a play like a screenplay.
I know
There's
what
three
that
ways
is.
I can do about it. I can just do the screen to the running back.
Right. I know
If
what the
he's
run back
there.
is.
The second phase, if that's not there, I can run to the opposite side with Lamar Jackson
Play
for a
option.
quarterback sweep. If those two plays are not there, the third one, which usually gives people, is an improvised slant or out route,
The
and,
slant.
you can't defend all three because I can improvise it.
You
Then I can
know,
defend it.
I know nothing about this, Ethan. I don't know. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know if it's a flex right now. Like, I don't know
I'm,
how
I'm
anything.
just I'm just telling you how you have to beat people when it comes to games that are more all too much artificial intelligence. You can have all the artificial intelligence in the
Wait.
world, but eventually it's going to come down to skill, and that's what I have to do: improvise certain things on the fly.
Well, what you're saying though, if I'm hearing you right, I'm gonna challenge you on one thing, Ethan. You're saying that AI right now is beating your ass.
No, no. What I'm saying is that when a person's relying
I'm
more on
joking.
AI in the video games, they're good, but when it comes to strategies, that's when I gotta, put them outside their comfort zone. Let's do that no huddle offense.
Well,
Let's
listen.
run
What
the
about this?
blitz.
What about the teacher that said, "Listen, you don't have to carry your calculator. You're not going to be able to carry your calculator in the future." And they were like, "All right, so you don't need to use the calculator because you're not going to be able to carry it everywhere you go in the future." Well, we can carry calculators with everywhere we go. So what I'm saying to you, what about AI being? What if AI is just now part of it? What if it's just you got to deal with it? And like it never goes back to the old way, and there's never any manual skill. Then what happens? Can we compete,
You can still compete.
or
It's
is it
just
shit? Is it just gone to shit at that point?
well, if you're talking about the video games, what it comes down to is this: you gotta bring the manual way of playing into the AI game, and like I said before, no huddle offense, improvise on the go. Now I'm forcing that person to think with their mind. Can they adjust to what I'm playing offensively? Can they
All
adjust to
right,
what I'm playing defensively?
I'll
Now we
buy
play
it.
like that. Now when it comes to AI in real life, AI has helped a lot of people become much smarter. It's exposed a lot of things on social
Oh, you're
media.
gonna go. Are you gonna go deep on AI right now? You're gonna go on AI. Oh shit.
Well, it's allowed for more freedom. It allowed for more.
This is non-political. I can get into this.
It allowed people to become more having a say instead of relying on the mainstream media because they're not going to tell the whole truth unless it's an inspirational story.
Well, here's what I think. I agree with you that AI is not a bad thing. I think that's what you're saying. But I also think it helps people that are experts. If you're an expert and you use AI, I think it can help you in your domain. But I don't think it's like like if I'm trying to understand law and I don't have a law degree, it's going to be weird for me to ask the right questions because I don't know law. But if I ask it things about computer science or software or anything like that, I know how to talk to it a certain way. So, my opinion, I'm not scared of AI because it's only contextually smart. It's only smart about what you're talking about in that instance. So,
But
just
I
food for
also
thought.
realize the people who make AI for like certain situations, uh, it helps with the criminal justice system sometimes.
Sometimes,
Like
yeah.
artificial, like reading somebody's face and see if their face is being recognized in a database in real time. FBI uses it all the time. That's why they have over a 97% conviction rate. And then you also got to look at the
I
situation
got
of
to check your facts. I don't know if that's fact. Where'd you get that fact? We got to check facts, but that
hey,
sounds crazy.
FBI has the latest technology
We don't have to
behind
check
the scenes.
facts.
They have teams of people in undisclosed locations that are researching things in real time at warp speed, faster than what the internet system or
Now you're
whatever.
going. Now you're going deep on me. Now you're going
Yeah,
deep into
yeah.
the abyss of
Yeah. Oh, now I know. Now I know what to say. Fiber walls or fiber
fiber
links.
optics.
Yeah, fiber optics faster than the fiber optics used in the stock market. They're researching things on command of their leaders and the team players.
All right, now you got to slow down before you scare all my viewers away with this. I don't do doomsday. We want to bring it back. What are you saying is happening here? The FBI is doing what?
FBI is using technology to their advantage.
Yes, agreed.
That's why.
I will say
That's
this, almost our whole government uses the technology to the advantage, which is why you have to make sure that you understand what's going on with your local government. That's all I'll say about politics. But yes.
very true.
But don't be scaring my people, yo, and telling them doomsday's coming because I don't say that. I don't tell them about. Listen, I didn't run my show about buckets that I'm gonna sell buckets of food eventually, and
Yeah.
I want to sell buckets of food, and then that's when I bring the doomsday people on, and we'll start selling buckets of food for $25. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just thinking I can make a lot of money, and then we'll just start talking about doomsday at that point. If you think that's funny, there's people that do that. So, all right, sorry, Ethan, I went on a tangent.
Okay. Okay.
What
Well,
else?
I
So
want to finish.
when's the last time you were a podcast? Were you on a podcast like an hour ago or no? You were talking to me. You weren't on a podcast today, were you?
Earlier in the day, I was at a baby shower.
All
I
right.
did a little food shopping. Then I visited somebody at the hospital. Then I also was at this Greek event. Caught up with a lot of people.
Oh yeah, are you talking about the Greek event with the food?
Yes, it's on Hershey Avenue. The
I
Greek
know.
restaurant. Hershey.
I was at the Greek event too. I had the food there. It was good. I love that place every year I go. So,
Yeah.
well, listen, I wasn't there. I'll be honest with you. My wife dropped off food, so
Can
I
I
didn't
tell
have.
you that story that we was talking about before we went live about that
Yes,
woman?
you know what? Let's do that. Hold on, where we at one time? And we got we got time. We got time. We got time.
Long story short is this: me and my cousins were living in the same apartment, and
Wait, this is
halfway into
recent, right? This is recent.
no, this was years ago.
Wait, I thought this story was recent.
Well, I put it in my book.
Okay, so this is coming from the book. All right, fair enough. I want to make sure they understand it because I thought it was. I was hanging on every word. I thought you were okay.
Whoa.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell the story from the book. All right, go ahead.
Basically, halfway into the lease, my cousins didn't want to renew it. One person was already engaged with their girlfriend, the other person wanted to live on their own. So I just kept track of everything that was getting fixed in the apartment. Then, when it was time to give the 30-day vacate notice, I gave it to the property manager. And then we did a walkthrough of the apartment. The, the property manager is a principal. He has his glasses on, said everything looks good, showed him the lease, showed him the original receipt for the security deposit. Everything's good. 2.5 weeks later, I get a phone call from the landlord, and she's telling me she's gonna be taking money out of the security deposit. Then she sends me pictures. pictures of the wrong apartment. It was a red flag right from the beginning. That wasn't our carpet. That wasn't our used refrigerator. That wasn't our used stove. And the biggest giveaway was this, right? Me and my cousins are grown men. We were bathing inside a fat fitter. The picture she sent was a picture of a cast iron tub. You wouldn't believe what was inside the cast iron tub.
I
A
know, but
yellow rubber ducky.
why is that? Why?
I don't know, but I know that woman downstairs had a kid, and that's where the rubber ducky came from. And I'm like, yo, you got the wrong apartment. And then the woman said, I'm sorry. Then she thought she could still get over it, but she's still trying to take money out of our security deposit. So we took her to court, and that's where she met the judge in Lancaster. I would say his name, but I don't want to say it right now. And we meet her in court. We see her across the room. We get ushered in by the bailiff. Our Sunlight Canary said this woman broke the law. She never gave us our security deposit. And the law states that if you don't receive your security deposit within 30 days, the landlord or property manager or owner of the property has forfeited all rights to countersue and claim damages. So, judge ruled in our favor.
Wow.
Yeah, mind you, before the courtroom, she sent a check for the difference prior to the ruling, but my cousin decided to play Texas Hold'em with the check. He didn't want cash or deposit it. Didn't want to ask for help. And an hour later, he wants to deposit the check into my account. We do that. An hour later, I'm getting ready to go to work for the sports program, and I get a text from him with a screenshot with a woman admitted. By the way, that check I wrote was written from a closed account. My heart dropped. Like, you gotta be kidding me, right? I called the bank. They said it's too late for me to change my mind with the check. 2 to 3 days later, I see a bounce check fee. I'm like, this heifer
Ooh.
then did this to me. I
Ooh.
called her up and said, "You gonna write a replacement check?" I didn't mean to do it. I swear. Well, I got the text message that says you did it. I got the bank statements. So what ended up happening about a month later was she paid the judgment with money orders, but did not write a replacement check. So she avoided the certified letters when I was trying to sue her in court in Lancaster. And then I had to call some big horses. Judge Mathis,
Uh-oh.
Judge Judy, Judge Faith, Judge Maybelline, Judge Joe Brown,
Who's that?
Texas Law, that show. And she was refusing to go on any one of those shows. The producers were asking, "You ready to come on up?"
What? You were gonna go on one of those shows?
Yeah, man. I wouldn't mind sitting in I wouldn't mind sleeping inside a Holiday Inn or a nice hotel.
Come on. So, oh my, no,
So what ended up happening was she still
no,
refused, and then I had to pay a lawyer down
no.
south. Eventually, she agreed to be served electronically. Then I had to do the biggest drive of my life. I had to drive all the way from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, all the way down south to I-95 to Atlanta, Georgia by myself. I had a fire lit underneath me, and it wasn't even a forest fire. I had a fire lit underneath me, and it wasn't even the fire from Canada.
Wait, the fire from Canada. Now, listen, we've got now. I've got 4 minutes before I've got to close off. You wanted to wrap with that story. That
Yes.
story's
Long
crazy. Is
story
that story
short.
in the book?
Yes.
All right.
Long story short, I made it in time for court by 30 minutes. Prior to started, then next you know, I beat the woman less than 20 minutes. The judge asked her simply, "Did you write him a bad check? Yes or no?" Your Honor, my parents were elderly. All right, I ruined his favorite bang. And then I go outside. I realize I need to stand next to the bailiff because this woman might show me some southern hospitality down south. And it isn't no peach cobbler or pumpkin pie.
Oh, come on, man.
So
Did
when I
you
made it
rehearse
back to
that?
Lancaster, She still refused to pay the judgment, so I ended up making a big Powerball move. I went to Lancaster County Courthouse and put a lien on her property, and her credit score dropped lower than a limbo
Oh,
bar. And finally, she paid up with a certified check, and I took the lien off.
all right. Good. Happy ending. All right. That's the ending, right?
Yes and no. There's more to it, but that's a whole
You,
nother story.
maybe that one, they read that one in the book because there were several elements of the story that gave me anxiety. What several, but I will go into that maybe on our follow up interview. We've got it. We've got a couple minutes, so I wanted to say first of all, um, what's the name of your book? Give a pitch for it and where they can get it.
My book is called The Inspirational Story of Ethan Poetic, Chronicles of Adversities, Education, Sports, Relationships, and Resiliency. Available directly through me through social media. Like, for example, my
Yes,
Facebook is Ethan Poetic. Then on Instagram, TikTok and Snapchat, I'm Ethan Poetic 23. Then on YouTube and LinkedIn, I'm Ethan
I'll send
Poetic.
the links.
And
Go
then,
ahead.
of
What was?
course, my website is ethanspeaks.com. You would trust me with your P.O. box and mailing address, and you can pay me electronically. Or if you want to buy the audio version, it's available on all major platforms.
Yes,
And I'll leave you with a quote is this: I'm a keynote speaker, self-published author, mental health advocate, two-time college graduate. And the best is yet to come because I look forward to adding the filmmaker to my title.
uh-oh. You know, I just did filmmakers. I just interviewed filmmakers last week.
Yeah, that
There's a
happens.
local scene. They're
Yes.
out there.
Yeah. But my book is rich in content. I gave it my all, and it's definitely gonna be worth it, your support of me, because when you read the book or listen to the book, you're gonna see me in a different light. You're gonna see me in a different way, and you're gonna see a person who went from victim to victor.
I love it. I love it. That was awesome. Will you come back if I have you
Yes.
back? All right, cool. Well, we'll see how this pops. I mean, you said you got all those followers. No, I'm kidding. I love it. And you know what? I appreciate you coming on and I appreciate your persistence. I'm sorry it took me so long to have you on. I know that. How old are you, by the way? Do you mind me asking? I totally
36.
36. All right, you're still young. I'm like, you're so young, like
Yes.
brand new. So you got a lot going on. I appreciate you coming on, and I will definitely reach out to you again. I appreciate. There's no pay. Remember that. There's no
I
compensation.
know.
So if you were coming on thinking you're getting something, Nate Bomberger's cheap. All right. Anyway, thanks for coming on. And anything else you want to say before I close out?
My quote is: don't invest more you can afford to lose. If
There you
anyone's
go.
asking for a loan, refer them directly to the bank or a credit union, or you just always ask them, what happened to all the money you got from COVID and claimed on your taxes?
Wait, just so you know, I do not this is financial advice. You can give that after the show. Honestly, I love it. I appreciate it. We're going to make sure that anybody that takes financial advice reaches out to you directly if they want to use you as an advisor. I want to say this was awesome. And the other thing I wanted to say is I will make sure the next time I have a guest that I maybe look at the book more because I feel bad that I didn't get to read your book yet. But I will by the next time you come on.
All right.
I promise you that. All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Ethan. Have a good night. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to close out. I'll wrap up with just a little close out. So everybody, thanks for coming on, Ethan. Author, as he said, he gave his credentials there. I'll post links so you can find out more about him. His story is kind of significant change in his life early on, as we talked about. Great story, great individual. Again, works with Jordan. Anyone that works with Jordan Steffi came out of that gate. Good people. So thanks for coming on, Ethan. That's all I got, folks. Make sure you check me out on Monday, Thursday, 10:30 p.m. on Smashing the Party. I'm going to be doing the rant and yelling and raving thing. If you don't want to check this out and you're not into the politics, go check out some of the other interviews I did as well on After Hours. Again, we're trying to push local folks, people that want exposure, people that are looking to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, make announcements. but also make sure that we're reaching out to people that want to establish kind of where their dreams are and they're trying to reach out to their dreams. As I talked about yesterday, I love how this show is going with the idea that we're bringing folks on that are in different lines of work, different levels at that, whatever that domain is. They're at different levels wherever they're trying to do. And everyone's kind of self-starting, as you'll notice. That's kind of a theme for everybody that comes on here. So just want to say thanks for listening. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. Thanks again, Ethan. You're an awesome guest, and I appreciate. We'll definitely have you back.